While everyone leans toward the bar TV like it's a campfire, you lean back, and the cheering hits you like background static. Your friends tease you for having no team and no passion. But actually, your brain refuses the usual shortcut, and that choice shapes what you enjoy and what you avoid. Stick with me. I'll map the invisible tug-of-war happening inside you. You're not a buzzkill or a snob, and you're not missing joy, because your energy budget is strict and your autonomy matters. Once you see the real mechanism, you'll feel proud of it, and you'll finally know where your tribe went. When the room erupts, your body doesn't join the party. It runs a quick scan, volume, chaos, unpredictability, and quietly files it under too expensive. So what looks like indifference is actually precision. You're protecting your energy and your sense of choice. Here's what's actually happening. Research on sensation seeking describes a trait that craves intense stimulation. In normal person language, it's your brain's appetite for loud, unpredictable energy. A common non-fan profile aligns with low sensation seeking, meaning your baseline arousal gets overwhelmed fast. So the stadium vibe registers as too much, not so fun. Now add identity. Studies using the Sports Spectator Identification Scale show that highly identified fans fold a team into their self-concept, then bask in reflected glory when the team wins. That means their confidence gets a little top-up from a scoreboard they didn't touch. You prefer self-esteem that comes from things you control, so the jersey "we won" language feels like renting someone else's pride. So if you flinch at the chant, it isn't coldness, it's your nervous system protecting you. And that raises the next puzzle. Why does a game land in your body like a stressor? You know that moment when the crowd noise swells and your shoulders rise on their own. Your friends call it being dramatic. Your body calls it budgeting. The loop is simple. Fans appraise that tension as eustress, a safe kind of stress that feels energizing. In everyday terms, it's like spicy food. Intense, but your brain labels it as "I want more." Non-fans often appraise the same signals as distress. That means your brain reads the aggression, the yelling, the us versus them vibe as a real threat, so fight-or-flight chemistry shows up without permission. Then the behavior makes sense. You avoid the game, or you half-watch while scrolling, because distance brings relief. Relief is a reward, so your brain learns no sports equals calm, and it repeats the strategy. Research on sports fans shows losses can spike comfort eating and alcohol use, because their mood swings are tied to outcomes. You don't get that hangover because you never handed your nervous system the remote control. So what deeper need is your avoidance protecting? Peace, autonomy, or an old story about not belonging? That static feeling doesn't start at the bar. It starts earlier, in a gym that smelled like rubber and shame. And your body remembers faster than your brain. Developmental research links negative physical education experiences to adult sports aversiveness. In normal person terms, your brain filed sports under public ranking day, not fun time. Retrospective studies also single out the captains picking teams ritual as especially damaging, because being picked last becomes social rejection, not strategy. So when people say, "It's just a game," your nervous system hears, "It's that test where you fail in front of everyone." Self-determination theory says motivation needs competence, autonomy, and relatedness. That means you enjoy things where you can get good at it, choose how you do it, and feel included while learning. Traditional sports often crush all three. Failure turns into learned helplessness, strict coaching feels controlling, and jock peers can make belonging conditional. So your mind protects you with protective indifference. You're not lazy, you're self-protecting. Now here's the twist. Why does that self-protection sometimes turn into an identity statement? Almost like a badge? Now you're at work, and the group chat explodes in capital letters. Final score. Hot takes. A meme of a grown man crying into nachos. Sports fandom functions as a social scaffold for belonging and small talk, so when you don't join, people experience a missing handshake. In everyday terms, they can't easily place you in the group map, so they fill the blank with a guess. Some label you cold because they confuse quiet with superiority. And sometimes you accidentally feed that label because a common defense is intellectualization, turning "I felt left out" into "sports are stupid," which feels safer. Sociology research on cultural taste, like Bourdieu's distinction, explains another layer. Rejecting loud spectacle can operate as a status signal. That means indifference becomes a way of saying, "My brain lives in higher places," even when you never meant it that way. So here's the micro fix. Frame yourself as a domain shifter, someone who bonds through different rituals, without insulting theirs. And if you've ever felt tempted to become an anti-fan, ask yourself what you're really protecting. Your autonomy, your self-esteem, or your need to belong somewhere that fits. Back when the crowd roars and you feel nothing, it's not emptiness, it's selective wiring. And the selective part is your hidden strength. Research on the mirror neuron system suggests spectators feel sport most when their brain can simulate the movement. In normal terms, you enjoy what you can feel from the inside, not what you only witness from the outside. So if you never built a motor library for that sport, or your body linked it to embarrassment, your empathy doesn't latch on. You're not cold. You're context-specific. Research on sensation seeking also notes some people chase intensity through direct action, like risk sports, but find passive watching boring because the reward comes from doing. So you're the person who can spend hours perfecting a playlist, a drawing, a build, a code project. Meanwhile, your friends scream at a TV, and you're like, "Congrats on your secondhand cardio." Your passion isn't gone. It's just invested where you have a real steering wheel. And that sets up the next layer. Why does your quiet interest trigger so much social confusion? Here's the proud reframe. Your non-fandom isn't a lack. It's a legitimate identity configuration. Research discussed here describes the non-fan as shaped by personality, values, and developmental history, not a missing gene for fun. It highlights a low threshold for sensory overload, a high need for autonomy and individuation, a reaction to exclusion, and a quest for high meaning. In everyday life, that means you protect your peace, you dislike wearing a borrowed identity, and you prefer complexity over a binary win/lose script. And you still have tribal instincts. You just redirect them. Social identity theory explains that we don't stop needing groups. We swap the arena. The research points to alternative tribalism, where belonging migrates into geek culture, art, technology, or social causes, with the same rituals, stats obsession, and lore. So, no, you're not missing fun. You're choosing a kind of passion that fits your nervous system. In our little animation world, the stadium fades behind you, and your calm bubble doesn't pop. It glows, and maybe that glow is the whole point. If this video did anything, I hope it loosened the idea that joy has only one loud shape. Not having a team doesn't make you empty. It can mean you're listening closely to what actually fits. You're not hard to please. You're precise. Some brains light up for the roar, and some brains soften in the quiet. Different wiring, same human need to belong. So keep choosing the kind of passion your system can hold. And if that felt a little too familiar, there's another layer we haven't touched yet. What happens when your favorite place isn't the stadium, but home? I wonder what your nervous system has been asking for all along.